I always knew about the Lord, like I grew up, my dad's a pastor, my mom's dad was a pastor. We were always in church, standard PK, like the doors were open, we were there. Jesus was always a part of my life. So in some way, even though you don't always know people, you have some kind of relationship with them. When I was 7 or 8, I made a profession of faith. I went forward at church, walked the aisle. So I prayed the sinner's prayer. My dad baptized me. And then I went on and I lived life for a long time. Fast forward through 12 years of my life till I'm 19 years old. I'm going to college at Hannibal LaGrange. I've been through all kinds of stuff that I put myself through, that I've been through on my own, things that happened to me, things that I caused to have happen. I just was really never super, and certainly never consistently faithful to the Lord. Made a lot of bad choices. One night, I told the Lord when I went to school, when I went to college, I'd clean up my life. And I got there, man. I just didn't know anything about HLG. I figured it's a Christian school, really small town compared to where I was from. There won't be opportunities to sin there like I have here. Well, they put me in the athletic dorm. I'm hanging out with all the foreign guys from, Latin culture, man. They love to party, so I end up at a party with them. I'm trying to buy drugs, and everybody's drinking. I'm trying to do all these things I told the Lord I wouldn't do anymore ever again. So I get back to campus, and I'm walking to my room by myself through campus. Everybody dropped me off, and gone their separate ways. I just felt the Lord tell me, I didn't hear His voice, but I just felt the Lord say to me that enough was enough, and that He was no longer interested in a relationship of any kind with me. I don't know that I was saved or not, is really what I'm getting at, but I felt the Lord say to me, for too long you said that you belong to me, and that you're my son, and that you love me, and that you have a relationship with me, but you don't live that way. And it's not just that you sin, you do things that just drag my name through the mud, and they don't represent me, and that's not what I am. And so if you don't get your life together, I'm going to remove you. I felt like I didn't hear His voice, but I felt like the Lord say He doesn't need people here to say they belong to Him and only do the opposite and slander what the gospel really is. So I felt like the Lord said He was going to kill me, and I know that sounds crazy. I hate to, I don't even like to share my testimony because that's in there, and people, think you're weird. That was the moment where I started to serve Christ with all my heart. I heard a guy named Peter Lord say one time in a small group I was in, I was really insecure about my testimony after that. Before that moment, I would have told you I was saved since I was 7. So I struggled with my testimony after that, and I was kind of insecure about it. And then I heard this guy, he wrote some books. He was friends with Adrian Rogers, Peter Lord was. And I got to sit in on a group of like 12 guys with him. And somebody asked him about salvation. He said, but I prayed the sinner's prayer 1,000 times. Every time I went to camp, I prayed it and got saved again. Every time my mother would get mad at me and threaten me with severe punishment, I thought I lost my salvation, I'd pray. He said, I prayed that prayer 100 times, maybe 1,000 in my whole life. He says, I know I'm a believer, but he said, I don't remember the day that I was born. But I know that right now as I talk to you, I'm sitting here living and breathing, and there's evidence that supports that I am a live person. He says, I don't know the day that I was spiritually born, but I see the Lord working in my life, and I see the fruits of my life, and I know that in Him I'm alive. And in that moment, it was just such a freeing thing to see someone so respected in ministry, someone that I looked to. The guy who was my mentor was looking up to him, And so to hear somebody else just say that was so freeing, to know that it's okay to not know the day and the month and the hour that you were saved. You don't have to have a stamp in the front of your Bible or it doesn't count. Christ has redeemed me. So I don't know how I came to know the Lord. I guess throughout my whole life I always knew who He was. I started to really know who He was when He made it clear that He was very interested in knowing me and that He had a purpose for me. And so that all started around when I was 19. But I can't ignore that so much of my childhood and growing up in church had a huge impact on that. And maybe I was saved when I was 7 and I was just in rebellion. I don't know, man. But when I look around, I'm not perfect. Boy, too many people can attest to that. But I see the Lord working in my life, man, and it's just impossible for things to be the way they are for myself and for Carissa and our family. It's just impossible for those things to happen the way that they do and not have Christ who has redeemed me in my heart. So I don't know. I don't know how I came to know the Lord and when. I just know that I did, and it was by His gracious hand that I was able to do that and know Him.